What's up, you all? We are live. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. I have some commercials coming for some people. I'm gonna start playing my commercials with my videos. Um, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Let me get started real quick. I'll let some of you all come in, but I really want to get started. So on the screen, I have life insurance and I have don't shoot. Now, there's this a couple of viral videos going around, and it's stating that if we get life insurance on ourselves, in my community, that the police won't be able to kill us. In other words, the insurance companies won't want to pay out the insurance, and therefore that will put pressure on the police officers not to shoot us. Now, my first argument to that was that it would make policing impossible because they would have to prevent us from killing each other. Um, but then I dug a little deeper and I realized that it's just a bad argument and it's a bad solution that won't work. It's actually, if you think about it, when I break this down, it's actually very silly and not well thought out because most of the premises or solutions that we base what we need in our community on is one-sided. So the whole notion is that white people are bad. So if white people are bad, then every solution that we come up with is going to involve white people being good. So this is why it'll never work because no one's talking about the accountability of the individual. But on the screen, I have a life insurance and I have don't shoot. Now, what's ironic to me is we'll protest and rally about the police shooting us, but we won't protest and rally about the police shooting other people, nor will we protest and rally about the police shooting everybody else. So we only look at police brutality from a very small lens. What's up, Katie? From a very small lens. And the lens is it only tells us that the police officers only shoot us, and it's just not true. But we're going to go through that right now about who the police officers actually shoot first, so I can get into my point. So on the screen right here, I have the number 723, I have the numbers 1064, and I have the numbers 1940. Now, the 723 is the number of Hispanic or Latin people shot by the police in the past 5 years. The 1064 is the number of people from our community being shot by the police in the last 5 years. And the 1940 is the number of white or Caucasian people being shot by the police in the past 5 years. So just based on these raw numbers, there are over 3,000 people that have been shot by the police, but they're only showing you one group of people being shot by the police. They're not showing you any Hispanic or Latin. They're not showing you any white or Caucasian. They're just showing you one group being shot by the police. So you got to ask yourself, why? Why are they only showing you one group of people being shot by the police? Why are they only showing you one group of people being shot by the police? I'll tell you, it's to create a narrative. Once a narrative is created, I can present anything as evidence. Once a narrative is created, I can present anything as evidence. So I want you all to see these numbers and think and ask yourself, why would the media only show us one group of people being killed by the police if there are many people being killed by the police? Well, the first reason is that Someone said they showed the older white lady. Yeah, but look what they showed though. They showed an older white lady that had a mental disorder. So they're going to show you that because that just shows how savage and barbaric the police are. And I don't see that video anymore. I saw Jacob Blake a million times. I saw George Floyd a million times. I don't see that white lady anymore on the news. So even when they do show you a white person, they show you for a couple of days. They're still showing you George Floyd. They're still showing you Rodney King. So when white people do get shown in the media, the videos don't last very long because nobody really wants to see it because there's a narrative already created. But you got to ask yourself, why doesn't the media show us other people being killed by the police over and over and over and over again? There's a reason why they don't show it to you because they created a narrative for you. Police are bad only to one group of people. So let me go to these numbers. So the argument in these viral videos is that if we get life insurance, that the police won't shoot us. This is the whole premise of this argument. If we get life insurance, the police won't shoot us because the big corporations and the insurance companies will put pressure on them and say, so let's just look at the numbers and see how feasible that is. So on the screen right now, I have 1,273. We'll just say 1,300. I have 0.0325. We'll just say 0.03. And I have 40,375. We'll just say 40,000. So we have 3,000, we have 0.03, and we have 40,000. So the first number on the screen, you all can't see it on YouTube, but the first number on the screen is the number of police homicides in our community in the past 5 years. Now, the media already has you conditioned to believe that when the police shoot someone, it's automatically because their race, which is us. So even though we could be in the wrong, even though we could have a weapon, the premise is when they do it, it's automatically wrong and it's automatically racist. I just want to show you the image for YouTube. So here goes the image. It's probably reversed, but if you can see it, these are the numbers right here. So what you all see is the argument is the insurance companies won't want to pay out with the police homicides. Now, most of you all don't realize that over 95% of the police homicides, the suspects are armed. Most police shootings, almost all of them, the suspects are armed. There's a small fraction of them where the suspect is not armed, where they assume the suspect may have a weapon or something like that. But most police shootings involve a suspect being armed. They don't tell you that because they want you to be emotionally ignorant and run around the streets and tear it up. This is what they want you to do. They don't want you to think. And I talked about us not thinking when it comes to racism. So the 1,300 are the homicides in our community in the last 5 years by the police, most of them against armed suspects. The 0.3% is the percentage of homicides in our community committed by the police. I'm gonna say it again. There are 0.03% of homicides in our community are committed by the police. They will never put this on TV the same way they showed you how many people died from the Peter pandemic, right? They showed you that number, but they never showed you how many people recovered from the Peter pandemic. There's a reason why they leave out the other half of the information. It's because context eliminates outrage. So context takes away the emotion. So if they show you how many people died from the Peter pandemic and how many people recovered, you will see that the recovery rate from the Peter pandemic was 99.8%. That means the death rate from the Peter pandemic was 0.02%, very similar to the homicide in our community by the police, 0.03%. Now, I want you to think about something, you all. With the death rate of something that was 0.02% and a death rate of something that was 0.03%, how did they get everybody to buy into these notions? How did they get everybody to do all of this craziness off of something that is almost 0.0%? Do you know why they don't show you homeless people on TV? Anybody got a guess why they don't show you homeless people on TV? I'll tell you. Because you see homeless people when you walk outside of your house. They don't show you homeless people on TV because you see homeless people outside. So in other words, the media has to show you something you don't see over and over again so that when you go outside of your house, you will see it. So now, you never saw police brutality before, but once I show you these images and I push the narrative, now when a police car drives by, it triggers that emotion and you see police brutality. This is all deep psychosis-like programming to where you even see in the police, you see racism, you see police brutality, even if the police officer is there to help. The audacity to say that the police are going to kill us, but yet we always snitch to the police and we always call the police. The audacity to say the police are always going to kill us and out to get us, but we always snitch to the police. We always call the police and we love working with the police. Just the irony. Just the irony. Now, many people say, Blanche, slavery did it. Slavery has our people doing this stuff. Slavery has our people brainwashed. Slavery has us in mental slavery still to this day. We have PTSD from all this stuff about slavery. The argument would be valid if we did this stuff right after slavery. So we should have saw this behavior in 1865. We should have saw our behavior right now. We should have saw it in 1866. We should have saw it in 1867. Okay, we should have saw it in the 1900s. Why is it taking almost 200 years for us to see this behavior from slavery? I'm under the impression that slavery was the most oppressive time of our history. If that's the case, then how is it during the most oppressive time in our history, we got married the most? I'm gonna ask it again. How is it during the most oppressive time in our history, we got married the most? How is it during the most oppressive time in our history, we got married at the threat of death, and we learned how to read and write at the threat of death? So in the most adverse time in our history, we risked our lives to get married and to learn. But you're convincing me that the remnants of slavery has us not wanting to get married and not wanting to learn. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Now, I have some numbers on the screen, and the numbers are not, I have some fried chicken on here, but the fried chicken is to represent us. I'm just being funny. I'm being funny with the stereotypes. So we have 1,300 police homicides in the past, and I'm rounding up, in the past 5 years from the police. We have 0.03% of homicides in our community being caused by us. Caused by the police, I'm sorry. 0.3% of homicides in our community are caused by the police. This number right here on the screen is 40,000 375. Now I'm around down to 40,000. In the past 5 years, there has been 40,000 homicides in our community. Who do you think caused them? In the last 5 years, there has been 40,000 homicides in our community. Who do you think caused them? Now ask yourself right now, 40,000 homicides in 5 years is insane, right? So why is the media never showing you this? Why is the media never showing you this? Why is the media never showing you 40,000 homicides in our community? I'll tell you, because the homicides come from us. Because the homicides come from us. 40,000. Over 40, I rounded down. Over 40,000. Now, let's get back to the insurance would fight over 1,300 homicides committed by the police, but they would pay out 40,000 homicides. Does that make sense? The premise of the whole life insurance thing is saying that the insurance companies will fight over the 1,300 homicides, but then they would have to pay out 40,000 homicide death insurance policies. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Someone did the math and they said it was 40, so it's over 40,000 homicides in 1,825 days. So in 1,825 days, we managed to kill over 40,000 people. Do you all realize that is like a war? That is like a war with mass casualties. So what I'm telling you is that your arguments against police brutality are only based on one side of the information. One of the benefits about doing debate in high school is that you have to argue both sides. I have a family member that became a lawyer, and it's funny that when she became a lawyer, she became conservative. When she became a lawyer, she became conservative. You know why? Because in a court case, you only deal with what? The facts. When you're a lawyer, you got to remove all emotions to win the case. And you got to deal with facts, technicality, truth. So the irony of my cousin becoming a lawyer and becoming conservative. But how could you not be conservative if your job is to now process everything without emotions? So I recommend that anyone, you don't have to be a lawyer, but at least study law, or or do debate. Something that gets your mind out of the condition, the programming of always relying on your emotions. But again, back to this number. So they want you to believe that insurance companies are going to fight over 1,300 deaths, but not the 40,000 deaths in our community. It doesn't make any sense, and it's just not true. If anything, life insurance on our people would make policing that much. They'd have to implement martial law. 40,000 homicides in 5 years, they would have to implement martial law. This is martial law worthy. This is why I keep telling you all that defund the police is not about punishing the police. It's not about better policing. They want to get rid of the police so that you all are going to be subject to all the criminals. They want you to be helpless against the criminals, and they want you to beg the government for help. Once the government issues policing, it will be in the form of martial law. They're not going to put people on the streets to be policing and writing tickets. They're going to tell you, you got a curfew, you can't leave this block. That's what it ended up being. So I really want to destroy the notion of police brutality because based on the numbers, police homicides are in every community. So just to think that it's just our community is just not true. Just like we think we have a monopoly on slavery, we don't. Slavery is still going on today. Slavery is going on right now in Africa, in the Middle East, and in China, and in Asia. China, right now. So we don't have a monopoly on slavery either. So the notion, again, all of our arguments and talking points come from an emotional place. They're not actually factually based. It's just emotional. It's not factual. To think that the police, the insurance companies would literally fight over 1,300 homicides, but not fight over the 40,000 homicides that we committed in 5 years is absolutely insane. They would have to implement martial law to keep us from killing each other. So the insurance company wouldn't be putting pressure on the police like you all think. They be putting pressure on the police to keep us from killing each other. And the police wouldn't be able to do it. So then they would have to enlist help from the government. Then you got martial law. So I just want to let you all know that all this protesting against the police leads to you all having a curfew and not being able to leave your block. Right now, y'all want to spin the block. Once they get rid of the police, y'all won't be able to leave the block. So y'all can spin the block all you want with no guns. You're just gonna be spinning. You're just gonna get dizzy and throw up and fall down. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. On the screen right now, I have a man named George Soros. George Soros is the person that runs BLM. George Soros, he runs BLM, right? Now, BLM's whole premise, listen, remember, the devil's in the details. BLM didn't start from police brutality, but they get all their funding when a police officer shoots one of us. That's not how BLM was founded, though. BLM was founded off of Trayvon Martin. So think about, and this and listen, this how you know things, just like in Roe v. Wade, in the Roe versus Wade case, the lady never had an abortion. In the Roe v. Wade case, the lady never had an abortion. So they got our women committing 1,000. Thank you for the badge, Rico. Thank you. Thank you for the badge, Rico. So in the Roe v. Wade case, I want to get her. So Jane Roe, in the Roe v. Wade case, Jane Roe never had an abortion. So they got all these women out here having abortions, and the case was founded on a non-abortion. This is how the devil works. This is how the devil works. The devil works like you got George Soros, a rich Jewish man, leading Black Lives Matter. This is how the devil works. So if the Roe v. Wade case was a scam and the BLM is a scam, what makes you think the police brutality narrative ain't a scam? If everything else is a scam, what makes you think the police brutality narrative isn't a scam? When I just showed you the numbers, I just proved to you that the media purposefully only shows you one group of people being shot by the police. That's been proven. And you got to ask yourself, why? BLM is led by George Soros. And keep in mind that BLM is a communist organization led by 3 lesbian women. Now, some of you all will say, well, Blanche, it doesn't matter if they're lesbian. It's not the fact that they're lesbian. It's just that how can a lesbian group not put the interest, or excuse me, lesbian and trans organization, how can the lesbian and trans organization not put the lesbian and trans agenda in front of your community? Who determines how much goes to the LGBTQP, don't forget X, Y, and Z, and how much goes to our community? Who determines that balance? Is it 90-10? Is it 99-1? Is it 100? Like, who determines the balance? Who determines the balance? Yes, someone said it. The founders of BLM admittedly said they are trained Marxists, which means they're communists. See, what y'all don't understand is that the whole Fist Up Black Power movement was a communist movement. That means the Black Panthers, that means all of your Black organizations were all started by communists, every last one of them. All of them. Any Black organization that you've seen, they have all been started by communists, because communists said we can destroy America using Black people. We can use the anger and emotion of Black people and the ignorance to destroy America. And if you don't believe that's possible, look at what's going on now. They're literally using our emotions, our anger, and our ignorance to tear the country apart, because all of this stuff is hinging on what our people do. You know, what our people do. So the Russians, communists, they saw something in us that would lead us to destroy the country. Now, you got to ask yourself, why is everybody using us to do all these agendas? They're using us to push the trans movement, using us to push the police brutality, using us to push the racism. They'll use us to push the climate change. They'll use us to push pedophilia. Why are they using us to push all these agendas? You got to ask yourself. We always said we were the chosen people, right? We the chosen people. But you got to ask yourself, what are we chosen for? Because based on what I'm seeing, it seems like we've been chosen to destroy the world. Now, many of you all are saying, Blanche, you're going too far. Blanche, you a sellout. Blanche, you a coon. And my favorite, Blanche, you a bootlicker. Blanche, all this stuff, right? But how credible are you all's opinions about me if you all got tricked by Black Lives Matter? You all got tricked by Joe Biden. You all got tricked by Kamala Harris. You all been tricked by Farrakhan. You all got tricked by Umar Johnson. You all got tricked by Brother Polite. Like, y'all have a track record of being tricked by everybody. So it's kind of hard for me to take your opinions of me as true when you all literally are deceived by the most obvious of tricks and plots. These are obvious tricks and plots. So my question is, if you all got deceived by Black Lives Matter and the women came out and said we're trained Marxists, do you know in Venezuela, as they were shooting people in the streets, the police, they were holding conferences for the president of Venezuela to speak? Like, it's crazy. And all it takes is to read. Remove your emotions and read. The Bible says, study to show thyself approved, not showing God approved, not showing man approved, show yourself approved. So the first step to learning, the first step to knowledge is for you to show yourself, so you to learn for yourself. Because it's your job to be in the know. It's your job to know where the ledge is. So the first step in really honoring God and caring about yourself is to know what's going on. But many of you all think if you're ignorant to what's going on, you won't be held liable, you won't be accountable. But there's a saying that says the ignorance of the law is no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So that means it's your job to know. So when I put these videos up and do these lives, it's to tell you all the truth. And the truth is, you've been lied to. You've been lied to. It's all a lie. It's not true. And I'm going to revisit the numbers again, but these women said they are trained Marxists. And what has been the fruits of BLM? All the chapters said they haven't received 1/4 from BLM. So they haven't paid the chapters. All the families are complaining and say they haven't received any money. So the chapters didn't get any money and the families didn't get any money. But yet and still, the folks they know got money. They're the one buying mansions. You all tore the streets up behind a group that tricked y'all. Y'all tore the streets up behind a group that tricked y'all. Now, what makes you all think that when they get on TV talking about police brutality, that is real? The whole basis of police brutality got you all tricked by BLM. The whole basis of police brutality got you all tricked by BLM, and BLM didn't even start from police brutality. It started from Trayvon Martin. The devil is always in the details. This woman, Patrice Cullors, is a baby mother. The irony of Patrice Cullors having a lesbian as a wife, having a baby, she checking all the boxes. Baby mama, lesbian, communist, embezzlement, fraud. Like, how many boxes she gonna check? But guess what? She's the epitome of Black culture. Baby mama. Stealing money. Didn't want to marry a man, but marry a woman. Paying her family. Stealing money, buying houses, living lavish. She's the epitome of Black culture. And y'all got exactly what you all deserved. Because Patrice Cullors and BLM is a reflection, not of racism, not of white people, but of you all. BLM is a reflection of you. BLM is from the fruits, from the trees that you all planted. So you all got exactly what you deserve with BLM. You got hoodwinked, you got bamboozled, you got tricked, you got led astray, you got run amok. Plymouth Rock, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock, but somehow we managed to put Plymouth Rock in a pipe and smoke it. I know when I talk like this, people don't like it because I'm telling the truth. Because I'm telling the truth. You know what? Let me get to my notes because I'm out of freestyle for 30 minutes. And I done took these notes. Let me get to my notes. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Right now, I have George Floyd on the screen. Now, folks been talking about reparations. And the reparations argument is a foolish one to me. You all will chant, no justice, no peace. That means we're not going to be peaceful until we get justice. Now, keep in mind, y'all been chanting this for 100 years and ain't got what you want. So clearly, everybody knows y'all selling wolf tickets. Not even wolf tickets. Y'all selling little puppy tickets. Chihuahua tickets. Y'all selling Chihuahua tickets. Y'all not selling wolf tickets. It's Chihuahua tickets. So no justice, no peace. And you want reparations. So my question is, when it came to George Floyd, you said enough was enough and you tore the streets up. You tore up white businesses and you tore up your own businesses, all in the name of George Floyd. You tore the streets up. The whole world was protesting for George Floyd. The whole world. Now, if George Floyd made y'all get into the streets and steal flat screens and steel bundles and PS5s and lace fronts and all that. If George Floyd made y'all do that, then why hasn't reparations made you all do even more? Why were y'all so violent when it came to George Floyd, but you're so passive and peaceful when it comes to reparations? I'm gonna say it again. Why are y'all so passive when it comes to reparations, but you're so violent when it came to George Floyd? So in other words, if George Floyd, the man that was on dope, the man that was a criminal, the man that terrorized our community, the man that held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach and said, where the dope at and where the money at, that guy, if that guy made you all destroy the streets, why is reparations not making you all do more? You haven't gotten reparations. It's been over 200 years, well, almost 200 years. So why have you not done more for reparations? Can someone help me out? Why have you not done more for reparations? Now listen, I get you all falling for that snake bite. I get that, because they told you all you couldn't go on vacation, we wouldn't go back to normal, you can't keep a job. So I get y'all getting the snake bite. I understand the snake bite. The snake bite thing was new. I got that. But reparations been on the table for a long time. So my question is, why didn't you all do what y'all did for George Floyd when it came for reparations? I told you all about picking and choosing what you're upset about. If the outrage is selective, then it's not real. When I see somebody picking and choosing what they're gonna be mad at, I know it's not real. So when the media shows you one group of people being killed by the police, I know it's not real, because they picking and choosing. When it's real, you don't pick and choose. When the media shows you how many folks died, but not how many folks recovered, I know it's not real. Because when it's real, you don't pick and choose. Selective outrage means it's not real. It's not real. So you got the bully saying, meet me at 3 o'clock after school. The bully said, we fighting at 3 o'clock after school. And you got one guy in the classroom saying, he's gonna beat you up. Now you go and jump on the boy that's talking in the classroom, you jump on him, but you avoid the bully. You're not really about it. And what y'all do is y'all pick and choose who to fight. You all only engage in a fight that you all think you can win. So you don't never talk about Bill Gates and George Soros and Klaus Schwab and all them. You go and pick on a white person in a convenience store, in the gas station. You don't, y'all pick and choose your battles very wisely. Y'all pick and choose very wisely who y'all decide to get rah-rah with. But what I find is y'all only pick winnable battles. Y'all never go after these head folks in charge, ever, never. When Byron Allen was going against Comcast, y'all wasn't saying nothing. Y'all talking about he got a white wife. I know y'all. When it come time to a real fight, y'all gonna tuck y'all tail and y'all gonna run. So if them Chinese come over here on a bullhorn telling y'all to get inside your house, y'all gonna do it. Y'all gonna do it. You're not gonna buck, you're gonna do it. When these folks come and say, give us your guns, y'all gonna do it. It's easy. They're already telling you all that freedom is linked to white supremacy. So your mind is already in a frenzy anyway, because you're starting to think, well, wait a minute. We fought to be free, supposedly, but then they telling me it's white supremacy. So y'all mind's already in a frenzy anyway. So y'all gonna do it. I'm talking to my people now. Somebody said that white people aren't doing enough when it comes to the freedom movement. I said, last I checked, it's folks in prison right now with no court date from what happened on January the 6th. And 99.9% of them are white. It's white folks I see losing their jobs, losing their career, been doctors practicing, losing. I see more white folks protesting out in the streets. I see white folks risking it all, fighting for you and my freedom. For yours and my freedom. I see white people doing it. In this whole freedom movement, it's literally 99% white people. So whatever white folks did wrong, they doing something right now. They're the ones going to court fighting for you. They're the ones suing these governments, suing these cities. White people are doing it. So whatever white folks did that was wrong, I think now they kind of making up for it right now in this whole fight against for our freedom, because they're going to be the ones trying to hold on to the Second Amendment, not you. They're going to be the ones holding on to free speech, not you. White people. So white people are the ones out here risking their livelihoods and their lives for us, not you. You wouldn't dare do it. You wouldn't dare go up against Klaus Schwab. You wouldn't dare go up against Joe Biden. You wouldn't dare go up against Bill Gates. You wouldn't dare go up against George Soros. You wouldn't dare go up against Jeff Bezos. You wouldn't dare go up against Elon Musk. White folks are doing that. So for all the stuff that white folks did that was wrong, these past 2 years, they've done a whole lot of right. And the irony of y'all calling Clarence Thomas a sellout, which they lied on him too, because Anita Hill, it was proven that she lied. The fact that y'all said he was a sellout, and he was the one that said the mask and the jabs are unconstitutional. The mask and the jabs are unconstitutional. But Byron Allen was going against Comcast, and he ended up settling. But Byron Allen was going against Comcast, and instead of you all supporting Byron Allen, what you all did was you all said he had a white wife. You see, you all pick and choose what you want to fight about because you're really cowards. You got mad at LeBron James' son for dating a white girl, but you're not mad at D Wade's son who says he's a girl dating a white girl that says she's a guy. Same thing. You accept the trans doing it, but don't accept the straight doing it. You already programmed that condition. They already got you. And y'all don't even know it. Let me get to my notes. Reparations. Where are we going to get it from? Where are we going to get reparations from? Now, they want you to believe that the slaves built the entire country. I'm going to ask you a question. Slavery was predominantly in the South. There's a whole United States. So tell me, how did all the slaves build the country? Based on the numbers, it's impossible. Building this country was a collective effort. It was slaves that built it. It was free men and women that built it, white and indigenous. It was immigrants that came over. Everybody played their part in building this country. It wasn't just us. Again, this is all mythology. Someone said it's magical thinking. Someone just said the Asians built the railroads. Exactly. It's magical thinking. We didn't build this country by ourselves. It was a collective effort. But they tell you this to get your emotion. And really, quiet as kept, they're just feeding your ego. They're just feeding your ego. You were so great, you did this. Well, if you're so great and do this, why did they give you reparations? If you're so great and you suffer so much, why have you all not gotten reparations? Who do y'all plan to get reparations from? The government? So let me get this straight. The government is racist, but you're asking them for reparations. One or two things are going on here. Either you're have the IQ of a, I can't even say IQ because anything I would say would. So either you're that dumb or you don't believe that racism really exists. Okay, I'll say it again. You tell me the government is racist, but you're demanding they give you reparations. If they give you reparations, that means they're not racist. So in the back of your mind, you have to believe they're not racist to even ask them for the reparations. For you to even ask for reparations, you have to believe they're not that racist because they're saying they're willing to pay for the wrongs they've done. And then once they give you reparations, you won't have any more excuses. I'll be honest with you. I don't believe we actually want reparations. I don't. Because once you get reparations, you're not going to have a leg to stand on anymore. You won't be able to complain. I don't think y'all really want reparations. I don't. So really when I see reparations, I see you got two options. You can take the George Floyd route or you can beg. It's just funny to me that you all took the route of begging the government versus taking the George Floyd route. But like I said, y'all don't want to fight the bully. 99% of the content in our community is designed to make us feel good. 99% of the content in our community is designed to make us feel good. It's not designed to empower. It's not designed to inform. It's not designed to educate. 99% of the content, information coming from our community is designed to make us feel good. So that's not my job. Making you all feel good is the Shade Room's job. It's these celebrities' jobs. It's CNN's job. It's not my job. So many of you pass 100 police officers a day. 100 police officers a day, you all pass them. And not one time have they shot at you, have they beat you, pulled you over, put you on the ground. But yet, when you see the police, you see racism. You see white supremacy. That's because you've been programmed and you've been conditioned. This is all a deep psychosis, and it's just not real. Someone said, I love the police. The funny thing is, life is about balance. So there are good police and there are bad police. Just like there are good people and there are bad people. But what they want you to believe is that the police have to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. How are we holding the police to a standard that no one meets? The same people telling you that the police are bad, example, BLM, were crooks. The irony of a bunch of crooks telling you all that all the police are bad. And you all fell for it because BLM made you feel good. Because you feel good being a color. You don't feel good being yourself because you got to work for that. You feel good with the label. You find comfort in the group. $40,000 homicides in our community in the past 5 years, over 40,000, and not one time had they ever said that number on TV. Not one time have they ever put that number on TV. 40,000 deaths, and not one time did they put it on TV. Isn't that amazing to you all? All those homicides and nobody is mentioning it? So how do we fix this problem? I put a picture up here and it says, skin color is not a crime. It's one of these fake woke people protesting. The irony of him protesting with a mask on. So in his deluded mind, he's protesting against the police, but not the oppression from the government. So in his mind, he's a rebel, he's a warrior, he's fighting for the people, and at the very same moment, he's submitting to the government by wearing a mask. This is how most of our people exist, with just gross contradictions in their thinking. They have two ideas in their head that literally totally oppose each other, and they live by both. The Bible says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Not some, not half, but all. A double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. So imagine our people fighting for George Floyd, fighting against racism, but then when Joe Biden gets on TV and says, you have to put this in your body or else we comply. These past 2 years showed me one thing. And they showed me that all this stuff we've been complaining about has been a lie. It's been a lie. It's been a bold-faced lie, in fact. Their solution is to make everybody equal economically. So either they're going to have to take from everybody or bring everybody up. To make everybody equal financially would mean communism. But what you all don't realize is that it sounds good to say, so you realize the rich will still be the rich. It would just mean the middle class is gone and everybody's poor. But what I realize about most of you all is most of you all don't mind suffering. You just don't want to suffer alone. You don't mind being oppressed. You just don't want to be oppressed alone. That's why when they set these camps up, these green zones and these FEMA camps, y'all are going to go because misery loves company. I just saw there was a guy and he was able to tweet the first tweet without tweeting it. He used his brain to tweet. There's a company called Synchron. Now, Synchron has been approved to test their stuff on humans even before Elon Musk. Now, they're telling you about Elon Musk, but not telling you about Synchron. Synchron has been approved to do it. Elon Musk is a smokescreen. Synchron's actually doing it. Now, y'all are focused on racism, and this guy's able to tweet without using his fingers, Twitter fingers. Y'all are worried about racism, and this guy's able to tweet without using his fingers. What I'm telling you all is they have you all stuck on racism, and they're moving on to where folks can even communicate and talk and tweet with technology. They're setting you all up. They're setting you all up. Because to be Black is to be controlled. To be Black is to be controlled. That's the whole purpose of you being Black, is to be controlled. We got the Great Reset happening. We got the New World Order happening. We got the Mark of the Beast coming. All these things that are major in this world have nothing to do with race. And now add the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So we have the Great Reset, New World Order, Fourth Industrial Revolution, and Mark of the Beast. 4 major things that are going to change our world forever, and not one of them has anything to do with race. But yet you all are running around every day consumed with race. What do you think is going to happen to you? You're going to end up back in slavery. And I saw this, I had a vision back in 2020. I told you all the year 2020, everything got revealed. That's why the truth is coming out so fast now, is because the cover got ripped off in 2020. Think about 2020 meaning perfect vision. They even say that hindsight is 2020. So what I'm telling you is that once the cover got removed, now the truth is out there. And these people that are in charge running the show, they all have to have your consent. That means they can't force you to do anything. They can't force you to do anything. They have to suggest it to you, and you got to agree. So we got the Great Reset happening. We got the New World Order happening. We got the Fourth Industrial Revolution happening. We got transhumanism happening. We got transformers happening. We got AI happening. We got all this stuff happening, and none of it has to deal with race. So the future is in your face right now, but they got you focused on race. Why do they want you focused on race so much when the entire planet is literally moving past race? What are they hiding from you? To be Black is to be controlled. So imagine someone putting a black hood over your face and you can't see. That's all it is. It's not deep. They put a black hood over your head before they hang you or cut your head, execute you. That's what they're doing. They're putting a black hood over your face. It's called blackness. It's called black culture. It's called being black. It's called African American. It's called all this stuff. They put it over your head and they're about to kill you. The Great Reset, New World Order, transhumanism, transgenders, Fourth Industrial Revolution, AI, mark of the beast, all this stuff going on, and not one of these things has anything to do with race. Climate change, clean and efficient energy, carbon footprints, all this stuff going on, and none of it has to do with race. You got to ask yourself, where are you going to be in 20 years if you're focused on race and you're complaining to a robot? Imagine crying to a robot, calling a robot racist. Imagine you all on TV crying about the robots are racist, the transhumans are racist, the transformers are racist. Technology is the way they're going to get you all to serve Satan. Because technology is Satan's way of mimicking the Most High. Meaning that the things that technology does, we should be able to do just based on the things that God has given us to do, the powers that God has given us. Because God gives each person a measure of faith. So what technology does is technology circumvents God's power, and technology says we can give you the power. Not you go to God and get it, not you pray and fast and seek, not that, not you getting that word. What they want you to do is forget the word, forget God, forget all that, and then we want you to take our route, put this chip in your body. Notice that everything to give you something special, they got to invade your temple. I'm going to say it again. Notice to give you anything special, they have to invade your temple with your consent. Much like when the vampire comes to your house, you have to let the vampire in. The vampire can't just walk in your house. You got to invite the vampire in. So the vampires come here to suck your blood. The vampires come here to suck you dry, and you still got to invite the vampire in. Will it still be called police brutality when it's robots doing it? Let me guess. I know y'all. They programmed the robots to be racist. Now, you all do know. Let me put the numbers back up. Now, you all do know, based on these statistics, based on in the past 5 years, 1,300 homicides committed by the police in our community, 0.3% of homicides in our community being committed by the police, and over 40,000 homicides being committed by us. Now, you know, if I put this data into a computer to program a robot to police the streets, the robot's going to make you all the number one threat based on these numbers. So the robots aren't going to factor in slavery, oppression. The robot's going to say, these people are the greatest threat. And not even just these people. It's going to be the men. Because most of these homicides, probably all of these homicides, most of them, 99% of them, are caused by the men in our community. So that's literally 6% of the population or less, accounting for over 50% of the homicides. So if they put these numbers into these robots, into this computer, these robots are going to view us as the main threat. But they're only going to view us as the main threat based on the numbers, not their emotions, not their opinions, just based on the numbers. Because based on these numbers, 0.03% of homicides in our community committed by the police is not the problem. 0.03% is not the problem, just like 0.02% mortality rate with the Peter pandemic ain't the problem. It's the same propaganda put up by the same people. Same propaganda by the same people. I forgot to put one thing on here. Same propaganda, same people. For my YouTube viewers, I have image on the screen just showing us Black Lives Matter, how that black fist is a communist. It's communist. It's from communism. It was all orchestrated. It was all planned out. It's not real. It's all a psyop. I know it's hard to believe, but it's not real. I want to read something to you all real quick, though. I want to read something real quick. I meant to put it over here, but okay, here it goes. According to the FBI, African Americans accounted for 55.9% of all homicide offenders 2019, with whites 41.1% and others 3% in cases where the race was known. Among homicide victims in 2019, where the race was known, 54.7 were Black or African American, 42.3 were white, and 3.1% were of other races. So 56% of homicides in this country were committed by us, and 55% of the victims were us. So that means by a landslide, because you got to think that the men in our community are only 6% or less of the population. So I want you to think about 6% of a population accounting for over almost 60% of the homicides. It's just insane. But they never put it on TV. They never tell you. They just say, if I bring these numbers up, they say it's because of slavery. Somebody said, Blanche, what are we going to do? Well, we got a few solutions, I'm going to give a few solutions. I'm going to give a few solutions. I'm going to read an article. Now, someone did a study, and they talked about who's the biggest or greatest threat to the police. Based on statistics, who's the greatest threat to the police? Based on statistics. Who do you all think it is? Who do you all think is the greatest threat to the police? Who do you all think is the greatest threat to the police? Based on statistics, who do you all believe is the greatest threat to the police? Anybody dare to even answer that? Anybody dare to take a stab at that? Anybody dare? Someone said Democrats. Someone said the state. And a lot of y'all are saying Black people. Okay, I'm gonna read this to y'all real quick. Nearly okay, I'm gonna read the whole thing. Somebody said, that's funny, Duncan. Nearly 900 additional Blacks were killed in 2016 compared to 2015, bringing the Black homicide victim total to 7,881. Those 7,881 Black bodies, in the parlance of Ta-Nehisi Coates, are 1,305 more than the number of white victims, which in these case includes mostly Hispanics. For the same period, though, Blacks are only 13% of the nation's population. Now, Ta-Nehisi Coates is working for the system. So what Ta-Nehisi Coates is he said that we're only accounting for 1,000 or so more homicides than white people. But what he's not telling you is that we're only 13% of the population. They never give you context. If they give you context, you won't be emotional. The increase in Black homicide deaths last year comes on top of a previous 900 victim increase between 2014, 2015. Who was killing these black victims? Not whites and not the police, but other blacks. In 2016, the police fatally shot 233 blacks, the vast majority armed and dangerous, according to the Washington Post. The Washington Post is woke, owned by Jeff Bezos. Now listen, you all, they have to tell you the truth. I'm gonna get a little deep. They gotta tell you the truth so they're not responsible when they present you with the choice. They're operating in balance when they tell you the truth and present you with the bad choice, because now you have a choice. This is the realm of choice. So God gives us free will. So with free will, you have a choice. So these people, as bad as you think they are, they tell you the truth all the time. It's just what you do is you choose your emotions over the truth. This is why I say it is impossible to be righteous and emotional, because you will choose your emotions over being and doing right. This is why in the Bible, God never asked anyone how they felt, because your feelings are irrelevant. You're supposed to do what's right simply because it is the right thing to do. You don't get any credit for it. Do what's right because it is the right thing to do. I don't have to bless you, give you any incentives. Do what's right because it's the right thing to do. So all of these people that you all are upset about, they tell you the truth for a reason. So now on Judgment Day, you won't be able to blame them. On Judgment Day, you're not going to blame them. You're not going to be able to blame the devil. It's going to all be on you. That's why folks are going to be tortured, because they're going to realize it was on them the whole time. It was on you the entire time. So these people have to give you a choice. They always tell you the truth. It's your job to say, I accept the truth, because the truth is the only thing that can set you free. Not BLM, not Kamala Harris, not Barack Obama, not Joe Biden, not the government, not these woke weekend warriors. Only the truth can set you free. What you all do is you reject the truth. Once you reject the truth, you reject God. Once you reject the truth, you might as well go ahead and start worshiping Satan, because that's the equivalent. In 2016, the police fatally shot 233 blacks, the vast majority armed and dangerous, according to the Washington Post. The paper categorized only 16 black male victims of shootings as unarmed. So in 2016, there were 16 unarmed people from our community shot. 16 doesn't promote outrage. 233 doesn't promote outrage. What promotes outrage is 3 times more likely to be shot than white. That's what promotes outrage, not these numbers. So they're telling you this stuff for a reason. The classification masks assaults against officers and violence resistance to arrest. So when they even say unarmed, unarmed makes you think the person's just sitting there complying and the police just kills them. That's what they want you to believe. Even though most of you all have had very peaceful and respectful interactions with the police. Contrary to the Black Lives Matter narrative, the police have much more to fear from black males than black males have to fear from the police. In 2015, a police officer was 18.5 times more likely to be killed by a black male than an unarmed black male was to be killed by a police officer. There have been police officers in Atlanta killed that are from our community, and there's no outrage. There have been police officers, look it up, in Atlanta that have been killed, and there's been no outrage from our community. Why not? Because the narrative supersedes reality. This is why you all are going back into slavery, because the narrative will supersede the reality. The reality will be you're going to slavery. The narrative will be you're going to freedom. I'll read it again. In 2015, a police officer was 18.5 times more likely to be killed by a black male than an unarmed black male was to be killed by a police officer. Have you ever heard this on the news? Have you ever seen this? Has the Washington Post done a follow-up piece? Has CNN mentioned it? Why hasn't anybody mentioned that the greatest threat to the police are the men of our community? If all the information is unbiased and it's all the truth, then why not tell all of it? Someone said it's not matching my words. Well, I mean, listen, you all, when I'm talking like this, y'all can watch on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. I'm on YouTube at He Is Blanchard right now. Y'all can watch it on YouTube. When I'm talking like this, it's going to glitch the system because what I'm saying is the truth. If I got on here and said you were oppressed, my life would be fine. If I got on here and said you were victims, nobody have a problem. If I got on here and said that America was so racist, everybody would love it. So that lets you know that what I'm saying is real, what they saying ain't. Because if America was truly racist, you wouldn't be able to talk about racism on an open platform. If you go to any other country, you can't speak out against the government. If you go to any other country, you can't speak out against the government. Go to another country and say that the government is racist, see what happens to you. So you all have a privilege in America that you won't find nowhere else. Police brutality. Yeah, they put a delay on it, yeah. Other countries, right. Someone said other countries will not allow you to speak against their government, they'll chop your head off. Exactly. You can't go to no other country, get on social media platforms and go on the street, tearing up folks' businesses, they'll knock your head off. So you have a privilege in America to go against the government, which should let you know it's not really real. Because outside of this country, you can't do it. So clearly, there's something set up here for you to be able to do it. Y'all are free in America. They tell you all that you all don't have the right to vote, but yet y'all broke the record voting last year in 2020. I'm sorry. They're telling you all that you all don't have the right to vote, but yet you all broke the record 2 years ago. It doesn't even make any sense. But what happens is you have two ideas in your head that oppose each other, and your job is to keep them from ever coming in contact. You don't have the right to vote, but y'all broke the record voting. You don't have the right to vote, but you broke the record voting. Someone says that we're not free. Someone said we're not free. I beg to differ. Once you embrace the truth, you are free. Once you embrace the truth, you are free. I don't mean your truth. I don't mean man's truth. I mean the truth. Once you embrace the truth, you are free. So, based on what I've discussed so far, is police brutality real? Is police brutality real? And if you say that it is real, then why isn't it real for the other groups of people that are murdered by the police? If the police are killing you because you're black, then why are they killing the white people and the Caucasian people and the Hispanic and Latin? Why are they killing them? It just doesn't make any sense. So you mean to tell me They're doing it to you because you're black, but doing it to them because they're just bad police. It doesn't make any sense. Police brutality is a myth. It's not real. How do we know it's not real? Because they pick and choose what to show you. That's how you know it's not real. Someone said the culture of police is changing. Yeah, it won't be any more police. It won't be any more police. And what's going to happen is once the police really totally check out, the homicide rate in our community is going to skyrocket like it did in 2020 and 2021. The police were leaving these cities. They said, why am I going to risk my life and my pension and my family's livelihood for some foolishness? So the police started leaving and the crime and the homicide rate went up. And I'm telling you all are going to get what you want. I don't know what he's saying. Thank you, Bree. The goal is to federalize the police so they can weaponize them against the citizens. Exactly. Someone saying it's real. So if police brutality is real, then why don't you get on your platform and say it's real for all people? I bet you have not got on your platform and said that police brutality is real for all people. That's right, Duncan, global police. You see, it's easy to check you all because you all have social media, so you have receipts. All you all talking to me don't have any receipts to back up what you're saying. So at the end of the day, if police brutality is real, then you would show all police brutality victims, but you don't. You only show one group because you know if you show everybody, it won't be any outrage. You know if you show everybody, it won't be any outrage. There are literally hundreds of millions of police interactions. And based on the numbers, it's a 0.01% chance you're going to get killed by the police. 0.00000, almost 0% chance you will get killed by the police. There are literally probably 1 billion police interactions in a year with citizens in the United States. At least 1 billion. Based on the numbers, there's no police brutality. You might have an argument if you could say, well, maybe if it was 10% of police interactions, 15%, 20%, maybe you could say then, okay, there is police brutality. But almost out of 1 billion interactions, you got 0.0000000 to infinity down to 1% chance that you will even be beaten by the police, forget killed, even handled roughly. So I just know that anybody saying police brutality is real, they stuck in the matrix and the blatrix. I just proved it's not real. I just proved it's not real. Because when something is real, they don't pick and choose what to show you. It's not how that works. You can't pick and choose and tell me it's real. It's not how that works. If it's real, it's real. If it's really real, I ain't got to change. I can just show it to you. If it's really real, all I got to do is show it to you. We say the police are so bad, but yet and still, when something happened, we call them the police. We say the police are so bad, but yet on First 48, we tell them all the beans. We spilling the beans to them. We cooperating with the police constantly, even though they're so bad. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. The greatest threat to police are the men of our community. The greatest threat to our community are the men of our community. The greatest threat in America is the men of our community. These are statistical facts. So if they put these numbers in a computer and they have some robots on the street, what are the robots going to come up with based on the numbers. Based on the numbers. Now, what you all will say is the numbers are wrong. So if the numbers are wrong, they're wrong for everybody. So that means your numbers are wrong too. So that means all the slavery numbers are wrong. If my numbers are wrong, everybody's numbers are wrong. And if everybody's numbers are wrong, then guess what? Now we gotta go by what we see. If both sides have the wrong numbers, now we have to go by what we see. And nobody is seeing police brutality. Nobody is seeing this Peter pandemic. Nobody sees it. Nobody is seeing racism. When you go outside of your house, you go outside of your house without a care in the world. You don't leave out your house worried about racism and the police. You worry about going to work. You worry about going to have fun. How you going to be oppressed and then pop bottles in the club? How are y'all going to be oppressed and then pop bottles in the club? How y'all going to be oppressed and pop bottles in the club? Somebody said 10 dead in Chicago this past weekend. And y'all talking about the police. I bet it wasn't 10 police homicides this past weekend. I bet it wasn't 10 police homicides this past weekend. There's no such thing as police brutality. If we account for over 50% of the homicides in this country at 6% or less, that makes us the greatest threat in the country. That makes us the greatest threat in the country. Just here in Atlanta, there's an area called Buckhead. There's an area called Buckhead. Buckhead's where all the money is. And in Buckhead, the violence, because the police officers were quitting and leaving, the violence started to spill over into the nice, rich part of town. But when the violence spilled over, it didn't just spill over with carjackings and armed robberies. That happened too. It spilled over with homicides, but not just homicides. Children were getting killed. So Buckhead said, listen, we want to leave Atlanta. Now, if Buckhead leaves Atlanta, they're taking 58% of the tax money with them. So Atlanta is scrambling right now to make sure it doesn't happen. But you just said defund the police, you're having the police officers. So now you're stuck. And I keep telling you all, the whole police brutality narrative is for you to say we don't want the police. And then once the police are gone, the criminals are going to run rampant and you're going to beg the government for a police force. And they're going to implement martial law. It will be a federalized police department. That is the whole purpose of this whole defund the police. There is no police brutality there. It's not real. It's not real. And it's not real because you all are watching this right now, not worried about the police brutalizing you. Y'all are watching me on YouTube and watching me on Instagram, not concerned with the police brutalizing you. You're watching me right now on YouTube and Instagram, not concerned about the Peter pandemic. It's the same people pushing the same narrative. It's the same thing. So the same people telling you that there's police brutality are the same people telling you the Peter pandemic is real. It's the same people. So let me get this straight. They're lying about the Peter pandemic, but tell the truth about the police. Come on, y'all. We got to grow up. We got to grow up. Stop being children. We're too immature. We're emotionally immature. I got in my notes right here. Defund the police. Defund the police leads to no police, leads to a police system provided by the federal government. That's the goal. So if their goal is to put you into slavery, why would you believe the narrative? If you believe the narrative, you'll accept the solution. If you believe the narrative, you will accept the solution. So if they tell you that the Peter pandemic is going to kill you, and you accept the solution of the snake bite. You see how that works? If you believe the Peter pandemic is real, then you accept the solution. So if you believe police brutality is real, the solution is slavery. I'm going to say it for y'all in the back. If you believe that the police brutality narrative is real, then you will accept slavery. Just like if you believe the Peter pandemic is real, you're going to accept the snake bite. If you believe in racism, you're going to accept slavery. The solution to all of this stuff is for you to not have any rights. That's the solution. That's how I know all of it's BS. Because the solutions to all these problems are me not having any rights. And climate change. If you believe in climate change, you'll accept the solution. You got to wear this mask on your face. You got to put this mask on your face so you don't emit that much carbon. Put a device in your body so you don't emit that much carbon. Because you best believe when it comes to climate change, it's going to be your fault. When it comes to climate change, it's going to be your fault. If you believe anything these people are telling you, then you're going to accept the solution. The solution to police brutality is for the government to police you. What does that look like? You will not be able to leave your neighborhood. And they're going to shoot you on sight. Y'all gonna be crying about them. They just gonna pop you. Or put a device on you to where if you run, it's gonna kill you. We gotta grow up. We gotta grow up. If you believe any of these narratives, you are going to accept the solution. And the solution will always end with you being a slave. That's how you know it's not real. The audacity of you listening to Joe Biden talk about police brutality. The audacity of listening to Kamala Harris talking about police brutality when they literally built a career off of locking us up. The audacity of you to think it's real and they're saying it. Police brutality is real because they're saying it. And they were literally known for locking us up. This is right out of the Communist Handbook. This is communism. Get rid of the police, beg for the government to police you. And y'all able to sit on social media and cry and complain without a care in the world. Y'all ain't worried about the police. Y'all hop in y'all car and have a great day. Ain't even think about the police. Every solution to any problem we face in the world results in you and I having less rights. Every solution. When it came to this Peter pandemic, you saw it. You have less rights. Police brutality, you have less rights. Race, you have all of these solutions come with you having less. That's why you know it's not real. There is no such thing as systemic racism. There's no such thing as police brutality. Because if it was true, you wouldn't be able to be on social media running your mouth like you do. Based on everything that's been said, do you think we need the police? Based on everything that I've said, do you think we need the police? 0.03% of homicides in our community are committed by the police. Do you think we need the police? For over 40,000 homicides in the past 5 years in our community with the police around. What do you think the number would be without the police? If it's over 40,000 homicides that we've done to each other in 5 years, what would the number be without the police? 80,000? 100,000? Joe Biden is talking about police brutality, but he authored the crime bill. Kamala Harris talking about police brutality, but she got parents locked up for their children being truant. She locked up our men constantly. So two people in charge of this country that have a history of locking us up are telling you there's police brutality out there. And y'all don't think it's a setup. And y'all don't think it's a setup. Everyone pushing these agendas got your freedom in mind. They got your freedom in mind, meaning they want your freedom. Just ask yourself a question. Why hasn't anything changed? If we're doing all this stuff is going on, why hasn't anything changed? I'll tell you, because you're operating off of a narrative. The narrative will never change. And when the narrative does change, so will your thoughts about what's going on. I'm glad someone asked, what is the solution for Black America? What is the solution for Black America? That's what somebody asked me. I'm trying to find a good picture. Here, I got it. So I've been talking a lot about how being Black is to be controlled. Yes, they want your guns as well. Yes, and they want your guns. So the United Nations states that everybody has the right to a nationality and everybody has the right to choose their nationality. So in other words, the United Nations recognizes that part of being human, part of being a human being is the fact that you have a nationality. Because a nationality means you belong to somewhere. But they also said that you can pick where you belong. So you can actually choose your nationality. You can choose it. You can choose it, whatever you want it to be. So the problem is we're picking being Black. But Blackness itself is a control mechanism. It's not real. So we're choosing to be Black. And being Black means that you are inferior to white. Being Black means that you are inferior to being white. So I'm telling you this right now. You have the right to a nationality and the right to choose your own nationality. That means nobody can tell you what nationality to pick. You pick what you want to pick. You have the right to choose your nationality. So I recommend that you all choose something other than being Black. I recommend that you all choose something other than being Black. Yeah, so Article 15 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights says that everyone has the right to a nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality or deny or the right. Let me read that right. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting tongue tied. Article 15 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has the right to a nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. So, someone said on here, they said that I'm not black, I'm American. It's nationality. So, y'all are better off being American because y'all are in America. We're the only group of people that hate the country we live in. You know why we hate it? Because we have the luxury to hate it. If we was in China, we couldn't hate it. If we was in India, we couldn't hate it. We can only hate in America because we got the luxury to hate. We can only hate in America because we have the luxury to hate. So I believe the greatest problem we face is being black, because being black means that you are controlled. That means you believe things like police brutality. You believe things like racism because those things affect black people. They don't affect Americans. They affect black people. Like when you're black, you don't have the right to vote, even though you have the right to vote. When you're black, you'll be against the police, but then vote someone into office that's for the police. So again, to be black is to be controlled. And so my advice to you all is to abandon being black. Let it go. Because black culture is death culture. Black culture is death culture. Black culture says don't snitch. Black culture says even though you know who spent the block, even though you know who shot and killed 5 people, even though you know who spent the block, shot and killed 5 people, 5 folks from your community, black culture says, shh, don't tell. Just for them to go in the interrogation room and tell anyway. The solution is for you all to reject being black, because to be black is to not be of God. I'm almost done. To be black is to not be of God. God is about identity. So if we are children of the Most High, then that's our identity. Being black is not. And what you all found in a few years coming, that being black is really satanic and demonic. That's what all this stuff leads. All this stuff leads to the mark of the beast. So hopefully, when someone brings up police brutality, you all could tell them that it's not true. And you can prove it with the numbers and statistics. And they'll come back and say, well, all the numbers are false. Well, then remind them that if your numbers are false, then so are theirs. And if their numbers are false and your numbers are false, now y'all can go by is your eye test what you can see. So when you walk outside, you don't see police brutality. You don't see racism. So one more thing. Wells Fargo, they said that Wells Fargo was racist. Said that Wells Fargo was denying black people loans. That's what they said. Wells Fargo rejected half its black applicants in mortgage refinancing boom. Fewer than half of black applicants were approved by the biggest bank mortgage lender. Now, this doesn't prove racism at all. There's no context to the folks that wanted to refinance their homes. But if this is racism with Wells Fargo, how many black people left Wells Fargo? How many of y'all protested? How many of y'all tore the streets up because Wells Fargo wouldn't let you refinance your home because you were black? They said they can prove, according to these articles, that Wells Fargo is racist. So if you can prove Wells Fargo is racist, why has nobody sued Wells Fargo? So you mean to tell me when y'all can prove racism, now hold on now. Now when it came to George Floyd, y'all tore the streets up. This is a proven fact. When it came to George Floyd, y'all tore the streets up. But when it came to reparations, y'all wanted to go the peaceful route. When it came to Wells Fargo, y'all wanted to go the peaceful route. Now, wait a minute. Now, clearly, George Floyd's death can't have a bigger impact than reparations. Clearly, George Floyd's death can't have a bigger impact than y'all being denied the right to refinance your mortgage. So why did y'all pick and choose and spend all your energy for George Floyd, but none towards Wells Fargo? Why can't George Floyd, why don't we have the same George Floyd outrage towards Wells Fargo? Wells Fargo rejected half its black applicants in mortgage refinancing boom, which doesn't prove racism, but let's say it is. Then why aren't you all upset? Where's the George Floyd energy? Where's the Jacob Blake energy? Where's the Breonna Taylor energy? Where's the energy for Wells Fargo denying you all the ability to refinance your mortgage on your house? Where is the outrage? I'll tell you, because deep down inside, you really don't believe that America's racist. You don't believe it. Because there's no way you would tear up the streets for the likes of George Floyd and then not do it for reparations. It's no way. There's no way you would be mad at the police but not be mad at Joe Biden. It's no way. I'm about to go, y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for YouTube. I'm in on this right now. 1,300 homicides in the past 5 years in our community by the police. Probably almost 99% of them, the people were armed. 0.3% of the homicides in our community committed by the police. 94% committed by us. And in the past 5 years, we've had over 40,000 homicides. My first question is, do you think insurance companies are going to fight over the 1,300 police homicides, but then pay out the 40,000 homicides? They're not. And do you think 0.03% of the homicides in our community being a justification of police brutality? It's not. But is the 94% of the homicides in our community being committed by us really telling us the real problem? Maybe instead of looking at the police and looking at slavery and looking at white folks, maybe, just maybe, we should be looking at ourselves. I love you all and thank y'all so much. God bless y'all.